Hi, hello, welcome. This is a Tsukishima Kei ex-listener, and sorry for the background noises. It was a nickname Tsukishima always called her, Pipsqueak. She was considerably shorter than him, so ever since she met him, Ryan had always been known as Pipsqueak. She had tried to get him to stop saying it for a while, but when she realized that he wouldn't stop, she simply didn't mind it anymore. Ryan had known Tsukishima for as long as she could remember, way back in the earliest years of their youth. The two met at daycare center out of the blue. Tsukishima is pretty decently outgoing when he was little. He was actually the one who approached Ryan first. She had been considerably shy when she was little, so Ryan was surprised that Tsukishima had wanted to talk with her. He was still very snarky as a young one, but it seemed a lot less malicious than it did nowadays. Tsukishima and Ryan had then met Yamaguchi a few years later when he was getting bullied. Tsukishima's attitude had rubbed off on Ryan by this point, so she had no problem standing up to the boys, no matter how much bigger they seemed. And after that, the three became practically inseparable. Yamaguchi caught onto Tsukishima's crush on Ryan pretty quickly, despite how aloof and cold Tsukishima seemed. Yamaguchi could see the adoration in his eyes when it came to Ryan, and as for Ryan, she seemed quite oblivious to it. She'd vent to Yamaguchi all the time about how much she had wanted to get into a relationship with him, but she made claims about how well she knew him, how it would never work. Yamaguchi would always listen with an amused look in his eyes, never actually letting it spill that Tsukishima liked her back. Sure, it would make things a lot easier for the two, but Yamaguchi wanted them to figure it out on their own. Besides, it was a lot more entertaining this way. So when Ryan showed up to school the next day with a strawberry shortcake and a look of determination, Yamaguchi knew things were about to go down. "Kei!" Ryan yelled when they got to lunch, almost angry looking. Tsukishima looked at her with a raised brow. "What? What are you yelling about?" With a light blush, Ryan almost slammed the shortcake onto the cake. "Accept my affection right now!" Ryan exclaimed. "Please." Tsukishima eyed the shortcake, chuckling. Ryan tried not to seem too disappointed as she stared Tsukishima down. "What's so funny?" Ryan asked. Tsukishima kept chuckling, looking at her with a smirk. "It took you long enough, huh, Pipsqueak?" The words took a moment to register, but when they did, Ryan became very flustered. Tsukishima stood up from his seat, lifting her head by her chin. He leaned in, a smug look on his face. He leaned in more until their lips were touching, holding the kiss for a moment before pulling away. Heh, cute. He sat back down in his chair, Ryan sitting next to him, despite the embarrassment she felt. When Yamaguchi approached the table, he took note of their faces. He smiled, taking a seat of his own, and smirked a bit. "What's so funny, Tadashi?" Tsukishima asked. Yamaguchi bit back his smile, looking down at his food. "Sorry, Suki, it was just that you have a really big blush on your face." Tsukishima scolded and covered his face with his hand, causing Ryan to giggle. He looked over and glared at her, causing her to giggle even harder. It was safe to say Yamaguchi teased them for the rest of the day. Ryan wasn't sure what she was expecting when it came to a relationship for Tsukishima, but she certainly wasn't expecting him to be so soft. Anytime they were in private, and even sometimes in public, Tsukishima would do whatever he could in order to get kudos from Ryan. While Tsukishima wasn't the best with verbal affection, he certainly made up for in physical ones. One thing he promised himself he'll never do, however, is show his soft side to the volleyball team. He'd never let it happen. Or so he thought. One certain day at school, Tsukishima was in a very sour mood, even more sour than usual. Wyan had been gone with the family for the whole weekend, so he couldn't see her. And since she had got home late, she ended up coming to school too late, so Tsukishima couldn't talk to her. And to top it all off, at lunch, when he was finally ready to get some hugs and kisses, a couple of members from a club Wyan dragged her away so they could finish up some project they were working on. So by the time practice rolled around, Tsukishima was incredibly cranky. His pouty attitude got to the whole team. They began curious about what his problem was. No one dared to ask him, though. They were too scared about what they would do if they tried to talk to him. When practice was just about ending and the team was just hanging around, Yamaguchi quickly got out his phone and called Wyan. "Hello, what's up, Tadashi?" Wyan asked. Are you coming to pick up Suki today?" he asked quietly. "Yeah, I am almost done in the club room. Why?" Yamaguchi glanced at Tsukishima, who was slouched on the bench with a cold frown on his face. "He's a bit upset is all," Yamaguchi said with a small laugh. "Oh, I get it," Wyan said. "Kei doesn't do well with a lack of cuddles for too long, or he gets cranky. Don't worry, I'm heading over now." Yamaguchi nodded and said his goodbyes, thankful that Tsukishima would be out of his funk soon. Pretty quickly, Wyan showed up to the gym. Walking inside, the team was vaguely aware Tsukishima had a girlfriend, and they had talked with her a bit, but they didn't know the extent of cuddly Tsukishima. "Oh, hey, Wyan," Daichi greeted. Wyan waved to him, and Tsukishima's head perked up like a dog. "Pipsqueak?" he asked quietly. "Oh, okay." She walked over to him while he looked up at her from his spot on the bench. "Hi, Kei," Wyan said with a smile. She opened up her arms so Tsukishima could hug her. "I know, come here." Tsukishima, abandoning all pride for Wyan's awaiting arms, stood up from the bench and leaned down to hug her. He rested his head on top of her, sighing contentedly at the situation. The team watched on in shock as Tsukishima practically melted into her touch. "Wow, I never knew Tsukishima could be so gentle," Suga said to Daichi. Daichi nodded. "Yeah, it's kind of odd when I took a look at it." Tsukishima suddenly picked Wyan off the ground, grabbing his bag and sending a half-hearted glare towards the team. "I don't care about any of you. I'm getting my cuddles." With that, he left the gym, leaving a heaving of laughter from the volleyball team. That was nice. Sorry for all the mistakes. The mispronounce. Yeah. That's it. This one was actually really cute. And so relatable. Shy? Yes. That's all. Yeah. And here are some bloopers because why not? This took 4 tries to do because I kept messing up. I still did in this one, so that's just wow. Anyway, here's some bloopers because why not? Hi, hello, this is a Tsukishima Kei ex-listener. Hi, hello, this is